Hi everyone, my name is Ting and I'm the community director of Octopus Network. So I'm going to give a brief introduction about our project and also some of the concepts behind that's important to why we're doing this project, and also some of the participants in our ecosystem, some of the app chain projects that we have. So if I may, I'll just start. Our team is led by Louis Liu. He's a very famous blockchain advocate in China, and he's the authors of many books. And in fact, he has wrote a lot about Web 2 and Web 3 technology and how we're transitioning towards this. So the team is mainly based in China. Right now, there's 16 of us, and 8 of us are developers. And the developers are led by Julian Sun. He's our senior software architect, and Michael Tang. He's a developer, our lead developer, and also a developer community builder. So he built the Rust community about 5 years ago in China, and about 2 years ago he started a Substrate community. Now this is all really important because the Substrate community, they have a program where we train over 1,000 Substrate developers. Right. So what is Web 2, right, and Web 3, right? So the main difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is what we're seeing now with platforms today, such as Facebook, Google, where all these platforms are actually company-owned. So when they're company-owned, obviously their main objective is to make more money for their shareholders. And at some point, this will actually collides with the best interest of the users. So with the Web3 platform, now we have an opportunity to actually have a community-owned internet platform. So what does it mean? Well, it means by using blockchain and a decentralized governance, we're able to create platforms where it is owned by the community, where it is transparent, and the full value is actually able to flow back to the community. So this is a brief chart on the evolution of the web. Of course, Web 1.0 was in the 90s, where we have a very basic, email, HTML website, which just provides information, or MRC. Then we have now in the Web 2 stage, where we have internet that's more interactive. There's a lot of content being shared, but a lot of that is still owned by companies. And today we're on the verge of moving into the Web 3 phase, right? Where what is more decentralized, is private and secure.
Aaron, if I can just ask a question real quick to kind of understand where we're at. What I'm hearing is that Octopus Network is the next iteration of internet level development, and that the team at Octopus is a very senior team that brings a deep amount of experience from the crypto side, and then also, as you mentioned, with the developer advocate, has trained thousands of Substrate developers to kind of expedite this next stage of development to Web3. Would you say that's kind of accurate for where Octopus is at right now?
That's exactly right. In fact, the team has helped a lot of very famous Layer 1 projects such as Cosmos, Solana, Flow, Oasis, Platon, and also Chainlink developed. So I would say that they're experts in cross-chain technology development. And and what we're trying to bring about here is really interesting because of just what Near has got to offer, being a really excellent scalable Layer 1, and the type of technologies that emerge, primarily Cosmos with the Cosmos SDK, and Polkadot with Substrate technology. So what we do is, we did a lot of research to basically identify the elements that actually work, and package them together, into a new product that would actually, solve some of the issues that we see. Okay, so thanks, Ozzy, for the question. So I'll move on to my presentation. This is some of the Web3 internet platforms, right? Just to give you a better idea of exactly what's Web3. So as you know, we have the Chrome browser, and now we have a Brave browser, which is crypto enabled. And in terms of storage, instead of Dropbox and Google Drive, you have a storage or IPFS or Filecoin even. And there's many other examples, which probably I won't get into now. So how do we bring about this Web3 revolution, right? It's a very grand term, but we need actually concrete actions to bring this about. So these are the four sort of like prime movers that we have identified. And number one is movement from DApps to app chain. So I'll explain a little bit more about this. And over here we have blockchain interconnectivity, and we think Octopus is one of the best solutions out there. And of course, we also need a rapid blockchain development if we were to have an ecosystem of thousands and thousands of app chains. And definitely combined with that, we need decentralized governance baked in. So what's the purpose of our project, right? So in order to accelerate the development of Web3, we want to lower the barrier to entry. That can be in terms of technology or cost. We want to grow the near ecosystem. And we want to grow the developer community, as most of the developers at the moment are Solidity developers, and there's not so many Rust and Substrate developers, but we believe that will change. And of course, we want to support app chain projects, right? Okay, so what is Octopus? So this is what it looks like on a very high level. So we have Near protocol as our base layer, and Octopus Relay on top of that. And on top of the Octopus Relay, substrate-based blockchains can connect as an app chain to the Octopus network. So as you can see here, I've drawn 5, but in fact, this is limitless. This is one of the advantages of having our protocol, is that we're not limited by 100 or 200 app chains. We can technically go into the thousands or tens of thousands of blockchain. Now, Octopus is a decentralized protocol that allows developers to build and launch application-specific chains using Substrate, transfer messages and value trustlessly across multiple blockchain. So what we provide for app chain is we provide out-of-box security, interoperability, on-chain governance, ready-to-engage community, and also a one-stop infrastructure. Now, we've chosen Near protocol because it is highly performant layer 1. And it has very high level security, very fast finality, scalability, and also usability, which is one of the key things that a lot of layer 1 projects do not focus on.
Wow. So if we can just hold up 1 second here. Okay, I guess we'll get into some of the details here, but there's a lot to unpack with what we're seeing, with what you just shared about Octopus Network. So, and I think you'll get into this in the next slide where you're talking about dApps versus app chains. But for anyone listening who's maybe trying to get a grasp on the big picture context of what Octopus is offering, Octopus is essentially an app chain platform for projects that want to have their own blockchain in a sense, but not deployed as a dApp. They want to deploy that on Near through the Octopus network, and Octopus provides them all the tools to do that extremely efficiently and easily, while Near has lots of baked-in benefits for them to make use of as a core chain. Would that be fair to say, Aaron, more or less?
Absolutely. In fact, I would even go as far to say that when we have Octopus on Near, that technically gives Near the capability of something like a Polkadot, except that it's the capabilities of Near is way beyond what just a simple relay chain, which is the main function is just to pass a message to other chain can accomplish. So that makes for a really interesting combination.
And as you mentioned before as well, there is no limit on the number of app chains that Octopus Network could potentially host. So I think Polkadot is limited, I think initially to 100, up to 100 parachains. Octopus, you said, could be hosting thousands of app chains running on Near, but through Octopus Network.
Exactly, yeah. So there's some innovation that was that was realized when we launched Octopus. So we do have some differentiation between our technical solution versus Polkadot. So, for example, we do not have collators, and also, our relay does not facilitate inter-blockchain communication. So, what we do instead is we have an IBC palette, which is a Cosmos IBC inter-blockchain communication protocol that we use, so that app chains can connect and communicate with each other. So because of this very special solution that we came up with, we're able to scale beyond 100 parachains. And technically, at the moment, I would dare to say probably in the thousands and potentially no limit.
I'll let you get on with your presentation, but we said in the last presentation that if you're in the near ecosystem, you're early to the party with Aurora. If you're in the near ecosystem, you're early to the party with Octopus, because I think Octopus is going to be huge. So continue, Aaron. Go ahead. Let's hear more about what's coming.
Yeah, thanks, Ozzy. Okay, so one of the key things that we have to justify is actually why should we have an app chain over DApps, right? So when you have a DApp, you have to share the bandwidth, with all the other DApps that's on platforms such as Ethereum. But when you have your own app chain, all that bandwidth is dedicated only for your application. So we see a day where many of the popular DApps may have to consider their own app chain. In fact, we start seeing some of the popular apps starting to have their own chains. So yeah, then customizability. Of course, when you are a app, on a smart contract platform, you're bound by some of the design decisions that has been made. So when you have your own blockchain, you can actually customize even the base layer of the protocol. And you can evolve quickly as well. With decentralized governance, the community can decide what kind of code to roll out. Even, for example, if you want to change, let's say, the block time from 6 seconds to 3 seconds, that is all possible when you have your own op-chain. You can decide on that. And there's even potential to incorporate some of the newer technologies that's coming up that can, bring up, for example, your TPS speed, bandwidth to 10,000 or beyond. There's no limits really. And there's governance on chain is very important because as we can see, some of the decentralization elements of a smart contract is not really there because because upgradability of a smart contract actually is achieved by something like a proxy contract. And when you have upgradability, then you also have several weaknesses associated with that. And also right now, especially, this is the time where if anyone is considering to have their own blockchain, this is the time to do it, because previously in the past, if you were to embark on a blockchain project, it would take you probably over $1 million and probably a lot of time, like 1 or 2 years. But now you have Cosmos SDK and Substrate, and because of this, you can develop your own blockchain within quite a short period of time. So I've seen projects that have launched within 3 to 6 months, which is quite comparable to what you get with a DApp. Now, DApps are still useful for certain cases, especially where composability matters. So, for example, areas such as DeFi, we're not really targeting it because we believe that DApps really make sense for that. So we're targeting everything other than DeFi, and we're also targeting not targeting so-called infrastructure projects such as layer one, such as Near, because we think that to be a really good layer one, you will need a really highly skilled team and a lot of innovation and technology. And there's probably a handful of projects out there that could qualify as a Near protocol level projects, but we don't think there's going to be 100 of them.
Okay, yeah, that's a very great summary, and I think maybe just if I can provide a little bit of a kind of macro context to this right now, Octopus Network is going to bring the universe of chains to Near Protocol. So Near Protocol is a world of dApps platform where you can build tons of different applications. And with Octopus, we basically bring in a whole new world of parallel blockchains that can operate on their own independently with all of those benefits that you just discussed. So yeah, let's see what more we have in the pipeline on this.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Yeah, so why Octopus, right? So mainly right now, there's two very well-known protocols, which is Polkadot and Cosmos. But Polkadot, so both of them have strengths and weaknesses, and there's always trade-off, and there's nothing wrong with that in technology. But Polkadot right now, as we can see from the parachain auction for Kusama, is very expensive. You will need to basically attract deposits of tens of millions of dollars. So not every project is able to do that. And if we want to bring the Web3 revolution, we definitely need to solve that issue so that more chains can go live. And on the Cosmos side, you need additional bootstrapping. After you develop with Cosmos SDK, so that also increases like difficulty and cost as well. So we lower the cost barrier. Lower the cost barrier. We also have a very special model called leased security. So if you have a parachain on Polkadot, essentially, if you were paying $500 million compared to another chain that is paying maybe $10 million, if you get the slot, you would have something called a shared security in the Polkadot model. So what that means is that you're paying $500 million versus someone paying $10 million, but you would essentially get the same level of security. So in Octopus model, we have something called leased security. So in fact, we call it LPOS, leased proof of stake. So when the app chain wants to be an Octopus app chain, they will need to go through a process, which I'll go through later. And once they get through this process, one of the criteria is that they actually attract a minimum security deposit. So the amount of deposit is not very high. In fact, it is at least 10 times less than what you get on Polkadot. And if you guys have been following the crowd loan, then you'll understand that anyone that pledges their KSM, we need to lock in the KSM for quite a long period of time, close to a year. In the Octopus system, we don't need to lock in for so long. It hasn't been decided yet, but I think the talk is around maybe 30 days. And also, by connecting to Octopus, you'll be able, all the app chains will be able to attract stablecoin asset. So stablecoin asset is quite important because you may have a great application, but because this application needs to be used by normal people, consumers, and they may want to see things being priced in the US dollars, for example. So through the Near protocol, we're able to bring these assets onto the app chain and vice versa, right? And of course, connectivity to other blockchains. So this is an IBC palette, which will be used to communicate with other app chains, but also communicate with, let's say, connect to Cosmos Hub. But it is also possible if one of the Polkadot parachain incorporates IBC palette that, this Octopus app chain or anyone with an IBC palette will be able to connect to Polkadot. And this is the really interesting bit about the interconnected world of blockchains that, is, about to happen. Right, there'll be so many different layers, so many different types of connectivity, and definitely we need to ensure that everyone gets that chance. And it's kind of one reason that we did this project. And of course, strong community. We're really, really happy and grateful to be part of the Near ecosystem. And we also try to bring more to the Near ecosystem and grow this community. We think there's a lot about us that is really that more people should know about, and we're very confident that we'll be one of the major blockchains. And the other thing is being able to disconnect, right? So when an app chain decides to secure an Octopus slot, that doesn't mean that they have to stay with us forever. In fact, it could even be an opportunity for app chains to get connected and to a bigger ecosystem, grow their D app, grow their users. And at some point, if they feel like they want to be an independent chain or they want to disconnect and go for a Polkadot and Kusama slot, they're free to do so. And all that can be done by the app chain governance. And the last one is, the last few, but the other one is forkability, right? So, so if you have been in the chain space for a number of years, then you understand there was a lot of talk about Bitcoin forks, how Bitcoin became Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and so on and so forth, right? So forkability is something that we enable, and we enable that because we include our archival node that actually takes a snapshot of keeps a record of all the blocks on the app chain. So if, for example, if in the case of the app chain having, let's say, for example, a hostile takeover, the community can actually have the option where they decide to create a separate chain according to a certain block height. Yeah, and every app chain will get an NEP 141 wrapper contract. So the app chain tokens can be bridged over to Near, and there'll be a NEP 141 is basically ERC20, but for Near. And this is really good because when app chain tokens wants to be listed on exchanges, then the exchanges, all they need to do is support Near, and they'll be able to list that token. Yeah, and of course, there's a lot more going on in the Near ecosystem, which we'll hear about in the next one, particularly DeFi. So they will have access to like decentralized exchanges, launchpads, and so many other things on Near. And yeah, and app chains also get API RPC gateway, and of course they have access to Near Rainbow Bridge. Sorry, it's quite a bit there. Okay, so this is what the tokenomics basically looks like, right? It's a very high level, very simplified version. So you have so Octopus network is a security lead. Okay, so app chains come to Octopus because they want the connection to Near protocol, and they also want to ensure that the security of the app chain is guaranteed. So the entire tokenomics center around, of course, the OCT token. There's only one token in this ecosystem, and the circulation is 100 million, and it's a fixed supply, so it's not going to be burned, and it's not going to increase as well. So OCT token would choose who to support. So they will stake OCT token to provide security to app chains, and the app chain in turn will provide a token reward to the validators and delegators. And yeah, so this in essence what it is. It's a very simplified model, and also this model is one thing I'd like to add about this model, and that is because our validators are structured as a set of smart contract on Near protocol. What that actually means is that we have basically a zero cost system, right? So if you compare that with the Polkadot or Kusama, you have basically validators where if they were to stake or nominate their tokens, they would earn something between 15 to 20% per year, right? So when these validators are earning 15 to 20% per year on the tokens, that also means that every single parachain that comes and tries to attract some deposit to secure that parachain slot would need to provide benefits beyond the 15 to 20%. So there's a very high baseline for parachains to overcome, and because of that, in fact, the entire value of Polkadot is being taken from the parachains. They're paying very high rent. It's a very high cost, and because we structured this on Near as a set of smart contract, our cost is basically zero. So when you're an app chain, you don't have to compete with that baseline 15 to 20%. All you have to do is make sure it's attractive enough. So we don't know what that is. The market determines that. But if it's something like 30%, if it's a really good project, they offer 30% return or 50% return, and the market is happy with that, then they'll be able to get their app chain slot. But certainly they don't have to pay $50 million or anything crazy like that.
Wow. So just to kind of reiterate and drive in here, if I heard you correctly, there's only ever going to be 100 million Octopus tokens to provide this least security to the potential hundreds to thousands of app chains that will inhabit this network. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And I should say, in comparison here, this is not financial advice, but the Polkadot market cap is 14 billion right now, and we've just heard for the last 10 minutes about what Octopus has on the level of innovation compared to Polkadot. So I'll let the audience in the Near ecosystem draw their conclusions from that one.
Yeah, and definitely like participation is really important. So we'll get to that bit, but definitely we want the Near community to be supporting this project and to get involved. So this is what the Octopus architecture looks like. This is slightly a detailed version, but as you can see here, these are the relay, the Octopus relay, and V stands for validators, and these validators are structured as a set of smart contract on Near protocol. Yeah. So there's many ways to say it, but we can say that it is in fact giving the capabilities of Polkadot to Near. Okay, so this is a slightly simpler one that I've made up just to show everyone clearly, how the architecture looks like. So I believe this is almost the same as the previous slide, with the exception that I'm trying to demonstrate just focus on the connection and leave out the technical details. So you have app chain, which are substrate-based chains, and any number of them can connect to the Octopus relay. And of course, Octopus relay is built on Near protocol. So by connecting to Octopus, they have the benefit, where they can have access to Aurora, or use the Rainbow Bridge to Ethereum. And Near also, I believe, should have IBC bridge to Cosmos as well. So that's one way they can proceed. If they want to communicate between the various app chains, they're free to do so. All they need to do is incorporate the IBC palette, and they can also use the IBC bridge to Cosmos Hub. And this really interesting bit is actually the Polkadot. So once Polkadot with Kusama is up and any one of the parachain incorporates the IBC palette, then that also means that the app chain can be connected. So as you can see here, if you're an app chain, and this is your place here, you can get to a lot of different places, right? This is really connected. And if you follow the analogy that, every blockchain is sort of like a city, or a district or a country, then that also ensures that your country would be, highly connected, to the commerce of the world. This is the app chain pipeline, and this is essentially demonstrates the process through which app chains gets to bid for a slot. And what they do is they have to approach our team, and they have to give information about the project, their code. We will have a team to actually validate whether they are a good project from all aspects, and they need to also submit a runtime. We'll do our auditing, and they get to enter into this process where candidates are upvoted or downvoted, and if they're chosen, then the OCT holders will stay and they enter into the staging and voting process. So this so far our community. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have 6 projects that's in our community that wants to be an app chain, and we have, with the exception of .monk. And these are some of the backers. Near Protocol was one of our seed investors, strategic seed investors. But we also have Electric Capital, D1 Ventures, Ascensive, like many big VCs. Yeah. So app chain number 1 is the Bio Network. So the Bio Network is a biomedical data project. And this project originally started as a smart contract, a DApp with a smart contract built on Ethereum. They managed to win some awards at the ETH Denver. But since then, they've decided to upgrade their project to a substrate chain. And they have identified Octopus as a suitable relay chain for them. And they're also integrated with Kilt.io, which is a decentralized ID project, and also Ocean Protocol, which is a privacy computing and a data marketplace. Second one is a Muse network. It's a music network using NFT and DeFi. And they already have, I believe, 50 artists and hundreds of songs in China. They do have a working app, and we're hoping that they'll be one of the first app chains. We also have Atocha. So Atocha is a gaming, decentralized gaming, where anyone can create games, puzzles, and people are incentivized to solve them. And there's even a way for the decentralized judging to take place. Discoval is a decentralized platform for discovering and propagating science-based information. So what it is really, there's a lot of health information, health data out there that is not verified. So what this does is they provide a structure where this data can be verified and people are incentivized and rewarded for doing that. And it also opens up possibility of using algorithms and also gathering certain type of data that's valuable. Muret Social is one of the projects that I like a lot. It's a decentralized meta-social protocol. So what it means is one layer above Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and they're able to grab your feeds off these layer 1 social media. Why is that important? Is because a lot of the new social media protocols built, in the Web3 world, they have the issue where they do not have a lot of native content. So so they believe that the content must be drawn from layer 1. Essentially, the idea is not to disconnect you from existing communities online, but but the idea is to basically create your own space where it's secure, where you control your identity and your data. And they also have a way to monetize where if you can create a good following, or a space where there's a lot of community members, you can actually monetize that through a peer-to-peer advertising engine. So we have some good news for people who wants to be an app chain. So we have a reward of 100,000 OCT tokens for our first 10 app chains. So the first 10 app chain will also be given the status of a founding app chain. And that's really important because we would definitely try to support the founding app chains as much as possible and make them model app chains for everyone else to follow. But other than that, we also have an additional 100,000 OCT token for the first 100 app chain. Okay, and this can be quite interesting because if you're the first app chain or the first 10 app chain really, what you're getting is 200,000 OCT tokens, and and these 200,000 OCT tokens, of course, we're not looking at the market price or anything like that, but potentially this 200,000 OCT token can not only provide their own project with the required security, but also it could generate some value for each app chain to actually put back into their development work. So what we like to say here is we give back to app chain projects. It means that when app chains come to us, we as a network, we want to give some of that value back to the app chains. So this is our growth strategy. We have a go-to-community strategy. Is a little bit different from go-to-market strategy. I would like to highlight that in a future article. And we also have a near guild. Octopus guild. So we're part of this near ecosystem, and we have our own very special Octopus guild for any app chains or anyone who's interested to develop an app chain and launch it on Octopus. Please reach out to us, and you can join this. And one of the key areas that we need to really focus on is developer training, because there's not many Rust and Substrate developers out there, and we have supported a program before, which is now an official parity program to train developers in China. So we like to bring that out to the rest of the world, and we think that this is one of the areas where we can contribute and everybody can benefit. What that means is basically when we train a Rust Substrate developer, they can essentially work with any project in the ecosystem, including Near, and and it wouldn't matter to us. And the last one is Octopus Accelerator. And Octopus Accelerator is a program that's designed to help app chain projects, accelerate their development and potentially onboard to Octopus. So
Aaron, if I can just, we're running a little shorter on time, so we'll need to kind of speed it up a little bit. But I just want to remind the audience, looking back at the beginning of this fantastic presentation, what Octopus aspires to do. What these app chains just demonstrated is really the emergence of, the industrial emergence of Web3. New verticals of Web3 is coming to Octopus Network. So we have the future of biotech data. We have affordable music and a new musical creator economy. We have the gamification of e-games coming onto this network. There's a lot of real innovation, and if I understood you correctly, the first 10 app chains will get 100,000 Octopus each. That's right?
Yeah, and that's and that's not including another 100,000. So in total, you get 200,000 OCT tokens if you're one of the first 10 app chains.
Okay, so for app chains looking around, substrate-based app chains looking around, I think Octopus has a pretty great pitch for you. Is there anything, Aaron, that you would like to leave the Near ecosystem community with, kind of to wrap up this great presentation?
Yeah, I think So I'm done with the presentation, and I think the message is that we're we're a partner of Near Protocol, and we believe that the options are not only limited to DApps. If there's anyone that's currently has a DApp that wants to look at having their own chain, you can come to talk to us, and we'll be very happy to support you. And we think that it's not a one-way street. We think that potentially there could be, app chains that may want to have a, certain part, of their product, on Near protocol as a D app. That's also possible. We just think that, if you look at the entire landscape, we think that this app chain, sector is completely it's completely not there. It's completely not developed, right? So there's massive potential, in this area if you're looking at, app chains. Yeah.
It's emerging for sure. And just for the audience, real quick, when can they expect Octopus Network to go live by, for actually, tokens available, able to use it, etc.?
Our tokens will be released, generated around mid of August, and around the third week of August, we plan to have an IDO for community participation. And we're talking to Skyward, and hopefully we'll probably do a multi-platform IDO, but definitely Skyward, I believe, is the most important one for us. It's on the priority list. So hopefully by third week of August, we'll get an IDO on Skyward.